Hey, welcome to day 2 of the medallion hunt. Now what will I talk about? I'd like to get myself going today with a story. And a real true thing. I've been teaching a long time, and trends in education come and go. Kind of in circles, loops, spirals, so to speak. And I remember a number of years ago, there was a guy named Gardner who came out with this book called The Seven Intelligences. And the premise of the book was that people structure consciousness through different modalities, right? You've probably heard of this. The idea that there are visual learners that need to see things. There are auditory learners that need to hear things. Some people are sensory or tactile, right? They need to touch things in order to learn. And when this book came out, I just kind of shook my head and went, okay, this is a bunch of bunk. And I remember, too, long ago in my old teaching life, I had a principal that really took this very seriously. And she scheduled once an entire workshop day just on Gardner's theories. And I really angered her when I kicked off the whole day at St. John's Prep School. I can see it through the woods almost. I told everybody, you know what? I learned through my olfactory sense. I told everyone in that little auditorium that I learned through my nose, that I sniff my way towards knowledge, even wisdom. And she got all riled up and, well, never forget. Satire is protected speech, even when the audience doesn't get it. I'm so happy now that I don't have principals anymore in my life. It's much better to have deans. Okay, you know, a kind of a discarded idea as far as I'm concerned, but there's a literary way of thinking about this. Over a century ago, there was a Frenchman named Marcel Proust, who, among other things, sort of coined a concept called the Proust effect, which is the idea that you can be an older person and suddenly have a smell come to you. And suddenly through that sensory experience, you're just being taken back, man, and you're not even prepared for it. For him, it was the idea of the smell, actually, of a biscuit being dipped into a particular kind of tea. When he smelled that childhood smell, he was provoked, nudged to write the longest, most unreadable autobiography in the history of literature. I can read you its first sentence. It's called, the whole volume, all the volumes together are called Remembrance of Things Past. Sentence one goes this way. For a long time, I used to go to bed early. Speaking personally about this, and probably trying to put at least one clue before you, we all have these smells, right, that are from childhood that just whisk us right back there. I've got a few in mind. Elmer's glue is one of them for sure. Are you with me? You just open up that little spigot at the end, take a little smell of that glue, and suddenly you're a child again. Some of you know that I actually have a little can of Play-Doh in my office in the library at Central Lakes College. And anytime I feel stressed or, kind of nervous, I just kind of slip in there and I pop the lid and just take a little sniff, and suddenly it's 1964. Everything's fine. The room is filled with sunlight. And I'm thinking in particular of a cereal that I loved when I was a kid, and I'm upset for a couple of reasons when I talk about this cereal. And by the way, I'm thinking about Fruit Loops. For one thing, my wife won't let me have it in the house because she's on this health initiative that I think she's just taken way too far. And for another, even if she would let me have Fruit Loops again in this house, my former favorite cereal, it wouldn't be the same. Why? Because they're not using the same artificial colors and flavors that they did around 1970. You can open up a box of Fruit Loops and they're going to smell all right. So they're okay, but they're nowhere near as vividly colored and as wonderful tasting as they once were. So I'm a little bit upset about that. Why am I talking about Elmer's glue? Why Play-Doh? Why am I talking about Fruit Loops? Well, as I used to say back when I was eating Fruit Loops, that's for me to know and for you to find out. Keep thinking.